T-Man978 Chill Review.
Hello everyone, T-Man978. Right now I'm going to be taking a look at GI Joe Classified Series Cobra Desert Scorpion with Scorpion 25. Or, yeah, that's what it's basically supposed to be saying. I'll let you read it. But anywho, we got that going on right there. This stuff on the back. This right here. And the reason why I bought this is because Scorpion is one of my favorite characters on Mortal Kombat, and it's my favorite character on Mortal Kombat, and he looks a lot like him. So let's open this box. I forgot to say it, but this is figure number 180, and I wanted to show it in the packaging with better lighting. But there you are. Alright, Desert Scorpion is an amazing looking figure, and he's a character I had to, or a trooper that I had to look up because of course, like I was mentioning, that Mortal Kombat is Scorpion is my favorite character in Mortal Kombat. This guy's, or this trooper, predates Mortal Kombat by like a year, so it's like a coincidence that he shares yellow and kind of a ninja-y aesthetic, but that's just a coincidence basically. I'm pretty sure once Mortal Kombat was a thing, they did add stuff like this spear and whatnot, and I'm sure it didn't come with this a gun with a spear that it can shoot off with actual rope on there. And we've seen this gun before, but it didn't come with the string or the line attached to it like it should have. If we didn't see this exact gun, we saw one like it. I remember it coming with this and the gun, but not any line on it, so they corrected that mistake with this figure. We also get this gun. He's basically a Cobra Viper, but this is a Desert Viper, but instead of Viper they went with Scorpion. This is like a modified gun. I can tell this looks like a handgun attached to another gun. It's like some type of hybrid. Removable magazine right there. We get two of these fist claw thingies, or gauntlet things. He has two knives. They are identical. You get this backpack, which is multi-layered, multicolored. Awesome. A little hook thing for the spear. You have a gun mount right here. I would assume it's like a gun mount. It's like Predator. If not a gun, maybe it's some type of targeting system. Maybe I should have looked that up, which I didn't. And it has a handle on it, so that's awesome. But this is a very detailed backpack. Then we get the Scorpion, or Scorpion 25, which comes in two pieces for packing's sake. Unfortunately, this thing is good, but the torso, the whole body is one piece, and then the tail, that's a separate piece with multiple ball joints attached. So here is the whole thing right there. And let's get into the Scorpion first. All right, Scorpion 25. Scorpion 25 has a lot going on with it. It's not made out of hollow plastic. That probably would have been a better idea if the whole torso was hollow, but they didn't do that. Here are the details under here. I would assume that this is something that came out of Cobra La. That would make the most sense, but Dr. Mindbender shows that he is capable of creating various things. It has these legs, but like I said, it's so heavy. They're all on ball joints. It can, if you get strategic with it, you can get it standing up, but I did something that I'm going to show later that helps it stand up better. But let's zoom in. Let's let you see its face. Multiple eyes like scorpions have, or arachnids have. You get the actual teeth and mouth right there. It's on the ball joint right there, which is painted pink, or is this pink plastic? No. I think they painted that part specifically pink, and they try to put some pink up in there. And all of these ball joints are painted pink because they're really the same color as this. So any of that stem you see that's pink, that's actually painted. And the claws actually defunction. They only open up that much. They're on a ball joint, so you can swivel it for whatever that's worth. And let's get into the rest of the articulation. There's a ball joint here that can go down about that much, come up, and of course we can rotate it like this. There is no like elbow joint, but there is a ball joint here. You can rotate this in whatever direction you want. If you don't like the way this is opening, I would assume you could pop this off of the ball joint and switch claws. Each of the legs are on a ball joint, so we can swivel around, but there is a hinge swivel at this section on each leg. I didn't realize that at first because it's so stiff, but let me get to this first before I start doing things. You get a ball joint here on the stem, ball post there, ball post here, ball post here, ball post here, and the ball post there. It can curve down enough to hit its own back. It can stretch that far forward, so almost directly in front of itself. It can sting off to the side. And of course, you can rotate that to however you see fit. Now, what I was talking about, what I was doing, is I rotated these front legs and then rotated this to be out like that with these two front legs on both sides. That seems to work better for me as far as actually getting it standing up without having to worry about it like leaning forward or leaning on its body, and I like that. But this is the most involved creature that comes with another trooper, and he still came with a bunch of accessories, as you saw. So this is really, really cool, and I like it. Yeah, flipping that around definitely helps it stand up better. Like, depending on how anal you are as far as does that look right, it might bother you, but for me it doesn't bother me. Here's this thing next to the desert scorpion, and here's a comparison with a typical animal partner. So like I said, a lot more going on. And now let's get up close with the desert scorpion. One of the things that pushed this to the next level is the soft goods cloak right here, or I don't know what you call this thing. It has a like hood technically, but the way it's crafted, I don't believe you're actually supposed to put that over the head, because he has that antenna thing right there. Here's this mask. Let's lift this up so we can actually see that and see his back. Nicely textured and painted. He has a knife holster right there, another knife holster on the side, and they did put like weathered paint on the gloves. I don't know how much of that you can actually see. I'm trying to get as close as I can. What I'm looking at on the camera right now, you can kind of see it in the cracks. He kind of has that same design on his sides. And the boots, I think they tried to give it that weathered, worn out look as well. I hope this looks better on when I watch this on TV later. Well, yeah. He does share something they've been trying to do new with Hasbro figures. He does have a faceplate. This one just pops off. Looks like that under there. And now if you want to give him his own, make him his own person or whatever, we have this look. I'm gonna have to change the lights. There we go. So we have this weathered, worn out look. But he also has a scar over the eye, like, or under the eye. Like Sub-Zero or like Duke or the regular GI Joe, but he's a Cobra. And I guess he looks like a tanned white guy, but maybe he could be Middle Eastern, which I hear. I was watching some comedian talk about Middle Easterns could be considered white on the census, so yeah, there we are. But I'm gonna get geared up, and then I'll look at the articulation. I don't think I've ever geared this guy all the way up before putting him back into the packaging, but now that I have, I get a more Mandalorian feel than I do Mortal Kombat, because he has the back mounted cannon thing right there, that spear, the cape that's over one side, and he has a gun. He has the knives back here, one right there and one right here. This one, that's not very secure no matter which direction I turn it in, and I believe it should be, yeah, it doesn't even matter. That's not secure really. But yeah, on my copy, some of the joints move a little bit more freely than I would like. Then others are very stiff. It took me forever to get that bottom elbow joint to bend. And I noticed this gauntlet swivels. This one should, but it seems to be more locked, and I don't feel comfortable moving it, and you don't need to move it anyway. I like extra articulation, but it's really not necessary in this case. Forearm swivel does nothing unless they start putting the hinge in the forearm so you can get a more universal wrist type situation going, which they need to start implementing that. But here's this option. I have it wrapped around like that. And one thing I don't like, the hose goes into this side of his head, but it's attached on that side of the backpack. So I originally had the cape going on the other side, but then I was like, we have this visible and then we have the knife, so it probably should be on this side. But I like them using more skin tight type pants on these characters. Some of the characters look like this on a cartoon. I haven't actually researched, but I would imagine these legs were probably the same legs used on that more recent Snake Eyes and maybe the Cold Slither bodies. But this belt, I mean, all of this part right here, this is all sculpted into as one piece, so this has to be made specifically for him. If I'm wrong, let me know. Here he is utilizing the claws. Now, the one thing that's stopping GI Joe from being like the ultimate best, like if you've seen my Maximum Series Deadpool review, you saw how they did the neck articulation. They did the neck articulation better for that, and the Marvel Legends, Disney Plus Daredevil and Punisher figures, they have awesome neck articulation. If GI Joe starts incorporating that, and if they the next innovation they need to do, like I was mentioning, the rotating forearm so they can have like a universal wrist type situation, If they could just change or update how they do the wrist so that the wrist can move in all directions, and if they start including extra hands for more martial arts type poses or superhero type poses, they would be the best. Those two advancements. Everything else is great for the most part, but those two things are things I hope they get eventually. Here he is with the spear and without that scarf thing on, and he still has this hanging off the back of the helmet, which I didn't realize, I'm gonna be honest with you. I guess I didn't mess around with this guy as much as I thought. I did take him out of the packaging and I was posing him around, but I didn't take anything off of him besides the face to try that out. I had no clue he had that hanging off the back of the helmet, so that's cool as well. But articulation, the head is on a dumbbell, so you can get all this, and the ball at the base of the neck. So I'm just gonna add all of that together. You get this. Of course it rotates, and he can look up about that much, which isn't a lot. Your arms can go to the side. You get some butterfly, but really not a lot, to be honest with you. You get a lot of ab crunch forward and back, and you get the ball at the base of the waist. You get not a ton, but this is good enough, to be honest with you. Drop down hips, legs kick up more than 90. They can kick back, go out to the side a lot. Thigh rotation. These two things are separate from the body. Double jointed knee. Swivel right here. The ankle goes back. Ankle comes forward, but it's definitely bumping into that skull thing, and then you get ankle pivot. And I just realized that I didn't show the bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. This arm, like I said, that rotates. Horizontal hinge on this hand, vertical hinge on this hand. This one, I can see that it wants to rotate, but I'm probably going to rip his arm off if I do that. So, there you are with that. And in the spirit of showing everything, yeah, here he is with this. This is a removable, but I don't feel like unraveling that right now. So the possibilities are endless with this dude. Here he is holding this backpack, and this right here. If you wanted this to be like down and out of the way this is sculpted, it does not want you to do that in either direction, to be honest with you. You're going to end up popping these pieces off. But this can look straight up, by the way. And looking at this thing, I think it probably is more of a gun than a targeting system. But it's your toy. You can imagine it to be whatever you want, to be honest. Here they are next to Law, a female Action Force desert operative, the previously mentioned Punisher, Sergeant Slaughter, and we're going to end right there. End of the day, I like the thing. A little bit rough around the edges on some of the articulation, mainly the neck. I wish it had extra hands. Some things are a little bit looser than I would like this swivel right there. The ankles have a lot of play, or more play in them than I would like. The butterfly joint could have been better, and I didn't complain, but I'll nitpick right now like my friends like to do. I have like mold flash on the elbow joint, the inner elbow joint, and it just makes it have a cheaper feel when you see stuff like that. So yeah, I'll nitpick on that. But outside of that, he's very cool. You'll be able to pose it around and all types of martial arts type things if that's what you want for Desert Scorpion. And he has a whole bunch of accessory options. You could troop build him and make this guy the leader, or you could just make him just his own character like I'm going to do. Because these things ain't cheap unless I find them on clearance somewhere. But anyway, thank you for watching. Link in the description for where you can get them elsewhere, or a link down there with the shop button if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Until next time, T-Man978 out of here.
Figure action.
Join the Syndicate Toy Hunters Facebook group. Link in the description. Click the videos. Click the videos, baby. Click the videos. You should really